Woo!
So today is the documentation cluster meeting, Monday, October 23rd. With us today are Kaylin, Sarah, Tyler, and myself, Sean. And we are going to be putting together some ideas for the winter meeting because we need to submit our session ideas by the 30th, I believe, which would be next Monday. Hi, Shannon. If you want to access the document that we're putting together our ideas for, you can use that link in chat, or you can just follow along. So we know that Tyler expressed a hope that his session on GCMD keywords would fit into a documentation cluster session. I really enjoyed the session that he did at Summer with the fellows from the Suite Ontology. I would be interested in a continuation of that discussion if we could fit that into a promotion of techniques to articulate and measure the socioeconomic value and benefit of Earth science data, information, and applications, which is the goal of this meeting.
So, Tyler, did you want a whole session or just a talk?
Oh, I'm just looking for, I was going to say, sorry, I was on mute before. No, I was just looking for a talk because Dana had asked me to give like a continuing talk on focusing on a little bit on Suite and also on how different providers are using the keywords in terms of how they use the keywords like within their own interface, how they're used within curation tools and such like that. So it would just be like probably like a 15-20 minute talk.
Okay.
So I was hoping somehow that might fit into this session here somewhere.
Yeah, well, we can make that work. We can put something together.
Great.
So maybe we should, I'm just going to throw this out there. Should it be like a session on documentation for discovery or something like that?
Yeah, I think that could fall in line too, because one thing I want to try to discuss within my presentation is, we know different groups are using keywords, and in general, we want to try to measure like, okay, well, how are keywords benefiting, and obviously one point of that is for discovery. So, yeah, I think there could be some good tie-in presentations to this theme.
Okay. So that means we would need, so you're saying, hold on. It's hard to talk and type. So I have a GCMD and Suite update. And you want to?
Yeah, I mean,
is that right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to specifically speak in terms of what Suite has done. I'm only involved in Suite as kind of like an outside person. So if you wanted to have someone give an update on Suite, I know that they just had a release. I would talk to Lewis maybe about that part of it.
Right. I think that would be the hope, is that, this wouldn't just be you talking about everything, but, finding a way to maybe engage with related clusters, get some invitations out for sessions early. so we can try and make them work. One of the things that Kaylin and I have experienced in the past year is that trying to put these sessions together and then finding speakers for them from the cluster and beyond has been a challenge. So our hope this time is that members of the cluster will take a more active role in defining the sessions, so that we'll have some more active participation and perhaps even help tracking down speakers for the session. So if we can utilize your outsider status in Suite as an introduction to someone who might be at ESIP willing to give a talk like Lewis, that would be.
I could definitely reach out. I could definitely get in touch with Lewis to see if he can give some sort of presentation or overview of Suite and some of the things, because they've been pretty active in the last 6 months, and what their most recent release of Suite. So, I can reach out to Lewis to see his interest, either or someone else in his group.
Yeah, that would be great. And I think if we can get their awareness early on about that, then they might take an active role in doing it. They might be thinking about giving this talk already and trying to find a home for it, and might be thinking about making their own session. If we could make a joint session, that might be more interesting for everyone.
Yep, I agree. So, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sorry. So I think, assuming that Lewis or someone else from the Suite group agrees to a talk, we would probably need one more. Does that sound reasonable?
Yeah, that's how it worked out last time. We needed one more speaker. And Ted had done something on the rules-based vocabularies, ontologies, rather than a keywords-based setup. We could try that again, or reach out to the guy who's developing that at CU and see if they would want to do a call-in presentation, possibly, for that. I think some of the questions that came up last time might be better answered by the originator. Or are there other groups creating vocabularies or ontologies?
Yeah, there was a couple of other folks at the summer meeting. There was I think it was ENVO. I'm not terribly familiar with some of the other groups,
Vivo.
But some of
Are you talking about Vivo?
Oh, okay. Yeah, probably. Yeah, it's like another mid-level ontology.
Yeah, but isn't it mainly for people?
I'm not sure. Okay. No, maybe I'm thinking something different. I could look up my notes from the summer meeting, but a couple of those, there was one or two folks from that group in the keyword session at the summer meeting, and I think I have some of their information, so I can look that up. But yeah, it was like another mid-level ontology, and I know they were talking to the Suite folks. I'm not sure where that was going, or if it's even relevant for this. But
no, that definitely sounds interesting. And I think that some of that work might be being done at NCAR and UNAVCO.
Okay.
I might be wrong about that, but if that's true, they're probably gonna have some people showing up. So I think that would be a good idea, good to find a speaker for that to round out the session, especially if some of those ideas came up last time.
Yeah. Yeah, let me look at my notes and see if I can find that guy from the summer meeting. I should be able to. I'll see what I can find.
Nice. Shannon or Paul or both, are either of you going to be attending the winter meeting?
I'll be there. I did not attend the last meeting, the summer meeting, and haven't been super active on calls, but I will be there for the winter meeting.
Okay.
Hey, this is Paul. Unfortunately, I cannot make it this time.
Okay. Well, summer meeting is fast approaching. I'm looking forward to San Diego. I haven't been down there yet, so that'll be cool. Hopefully you'll be able to join us there. Do either of you have any ideas? Paul, did you want to think about calling in to share more of your work? Is there, can we tie in Ted's idea of granular level metadata to a session on work in ISO? And I'm just throwing things out here.
Yeah, sure. No, that's fine. That is actually a discussion that we've had internally here about defining what is a collection, what is a granule, and how far down do we go to define that granularity. So that would actually be a really, really good topic to have. And yeah, we could absolutely, there's probably several of us within NOAA that would be interested in calling in, or there's several of us that'll be there from Silver Spring, I know for sure. So,
okay.
Yeah, we would love to do something about that.
So maybe you could help us to identify and maybe introduce us to someone who's going to be on site for the presentation. I think that the kind of rule of thumb out there is still that virtual presentations leave something to be desired. So if there's somebody in attendance, I guess I'm saying that would be a first choice of speaker.
Yeah, sure. I can get you a list of who I know is confirmed going. Something like a discussion panel, I think, would be a great format for that issue.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. We need to determine what kinds of sessions these are as well.
So I would be willing to participate in that, and we look at granular level metadata for our project.
Okay. And I think that Ted's already expressed interest in speaking to this.
So if we do a panel session, then that would be more of a moderated discussion, right?
And as such, as one of the people on the panel, you would prefer someone else to step up and moderate?
Yeah, that would probably be.
Okay, I bet I can handle that. All I have to do is remember who's who and what they do. I think I can do that, or write it down at the very least. So Okay.
Okay, so we'll get someone from NOAA. Shannon, would you be interested in participating?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, I think I'd definitely be really interested in the granular level metadata. We're just sort of starting to delve into it. And I think from a practical perspective, something we've run into a lot is sort of dealing with all the different system requirements. And that's sort of, I know that it's different for NOAA versus the DACs and whatnot, but it's a very practical sort of like, what are the requirements of the different systems and how flexible are changes and that sort of thing. So, I mean, yeah, if you think that something like that could fit in, then I can definitely speak to sort of our experiences about that, or at least be at the session. I'd definitely be interested in attending.
Well, it sounds like you might actually be a better moderator because you already have a rooting in the problems that you're experiencing. So you might have some really good, insightful questions. Or you could help me come up with a list that I could just ask.
Yeah, I'd be willing to help out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Shannon, I'm going to put your name in here and we can talk later if we need to.
Sounds good.
So Paul, if you could just send a short email with the list of attendees and a short, this is going to be our panel discussion on granular metadata. Is there anyone who feels like they would be, interested in being on that panel, and CC myself and Kaylin to that, and then we can pick up the discussion and hammer down the particulars from there. But an introduction would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Sarah O'Connor is on the call too. Sarah, are you going to ESIP?
Sorry, Paul. It's still to be determined at this point.
Okay. But
I can help you get the list of NOAA NCI people from our end.
Okay. Sarah is one of our metadata gurus in Silver Spring. So
cool.
I know she would be a great addition to that. But I know of a few others that are going, so I will reach out.
Thank you very much. So, Sarah, are there any? Oh, go ahead, Kaylin.
I'm sorry. I was just going to ask if there was somebody from USGS that we should ask to. For the panel.
Yeah, I'm thinking that I don't know who off the top of my head, but I could definitely ask a couple of people to see if there's anyone that would fit on there.
Yeah, I guess what we could do is if we do identify somebody from USGS, then I can always step out and help moderate.
Well, no, I mean, I think that it would be, really good to have, well, I guess maybe if Shannon is there on the panel. I was just thinking NASA representation would be really great to have.
Yeah. Okay. Sean, will you reach out on that part?
Yeah.
Okay.
So for the keywords session, what kind of session should it be? It seemed a bit more roundtable last time than breakout or presentation style. Do people agree with that?
Sean, you mean you rather maybe have like a round table rather than just give presentations, or you mean just kind of like?
I mean, it seemed to me that, you know, the session this summer, you know, while it was set out, you know, each of you had a presentation, that the real meat of the session were when, you know, just everybody was talking back and forth. So I mean, you would be a great person to ask, is that observation accurate, or do you think that we should just stick with a presentation style?
Yeah, I mean, I think also depends on the topic, because you know, like what I was really hoping to get out of the summer meeting in terms of, you know, the keywords and where we go down the road in the future was kind of gauging and getting ideas from the end users in terms of, you know, keyword suggestions, how we should improve things like KMS, the KMS API, and I think that worked really good for that session. So I think it also depends on, you know, in some cases, given like a presentation works, in other cases, you know, that kind of thing works. So I mean, that may or may not work for this session. It also depends on kind of like where you want to go, and basically, I think like what we actually want to get out of this session. But I think, I mean, part of it should be definitely dedicated to having like a roundtable discussion, you know, amongst everyone in the room.
Okay. So
I think we need like a combination of some slides and then also some, you know, discussion time built in.
Okay, so give the expectation that you know, a short presentation is preferred for introduction, and then we'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, working session?
Breakout session.
Okay. Works for me.
Okay, do we have a third idea? Sarah, was there anything that you would like to see at ESIP, assuming that you get to go?
Honestly, I think you've identified both of the things that I was somewhat looking to have more of a discussion on.
Okay. So you
Granular metadata and more on keywords.
So you would look to be in one of these sessions if you wanted to talk. There's not something else on your horizon that you think?
Not in the next 6 months, now.
Okay.
So one thing I would like to see, and maybe this is probably better for a summer meeting, is like, you know, I would like to see like a hands-on metadata workshop, like, you know, bring your data, and then, you know, we could discuss, okay, well, like here are like the tools to, you know, that you can use. Here's different groups offering different tools for curation, and here's different ways you can curate your records and like best practices and things like that. But I think maybe that's maybe geared towards more for something in the summer, but something that I don't think has really been done much at ESIP, and I think could be beneficial to groups, maybe even people who are new to like documentation or metadata that don't know much but want to kind of get some like hands-on and then some best practices communicated.
I really like that idea. I really like that idea, but I do agree. I think that was probably more of a summer session.
Yeah, just to put it out there, so when we come back to it in 6 months or 3 months for summer ideas, have it lit somewhere so we don't forget about it.
I think that's a great idea. I'll put it on my whiteboard.
Great.
Also, Sean, this is Paul. For the GCMD keyword session, Anna Mylan, who is pretty active in this group, she has recently put together a recommendation document and best practices for GCMD keyword use within NOAA that I'm sure she would be more than willing to share during the session. I don't know if she's going to be able to make it in person, but if the ability exists for her to call in, I'm sure she would be willing to do that.
Yeah, in fact, she did this summer.
Yep.
So it's a good idea.
Yeah, well, it's definitely evolved since then. So it would be.
Oh no! She spoke not to this, but remotely during one of the sessions.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I think this could be a good follow-on from my talk and Lewis's talk. Basically, that this could be like a practical application of how they're using the keywords and like their best practices in terms of how they use it. Because I also know within the NOAA One-Stop portal that this like their new portal, they're using the keywords in there. So it'd be good to maybe Anna can, if she know I'm not sure how much she knows about how the One-Stop portal is utilizing those keywords in terms of their best practices. And I didn't know if maybe she could talk about that too, because I'd be interested to hear more about that as well, and either in this or something similar.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, she Anna and I are both in One-Stop, so she can definitely speak to that.
Yeah.
Do we know anyone from USGS that uses GCMD keywords or a shared vocabulary of their own?
I know Vivian Hutchinson.
Mm-hmm.
Hutchinson is part of the data management working group within USGS.
Right.
And Linda Wayne is one of their, I think she's a representative to FGDC with USGS. So they would be the first two people I would reach out to in regards to if you're looking for USGS participation in the metadata in the GCMD discussion.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a goal of mine to try and be inclusive of the new funding members, and try and get their perspectives in to this group, because I think really key to ESIP is finding out what everybody else is doing, and figuring out how to apply that to your own work. So do we have an idea 3?
So, John, I think from my side, by January, we will have completed phase 1 of our project. And we will also have mostly finished the first development of the dashboard for metadata creation.
Okay.
So I think it would be good for my team to have a chance to kind of talk about what we've learned. And and maybe demo the dashboard. I know we had a lot of interest in that at the summer meeting. But I would definitely want other people in that session besides just us. So, and I know Dana and the CMR team had volunteered to participate if needed. Anyway, I'm throwing that out there because I think I probably need to, provide an update on where we're at with our curation effort.
Yeah, I think that I could probably participate in that session, give an update on kinds of dashboarding ideas that I'm working with for my project. There's probably other examples out there in the wild if you wanted to make the session more across ESIP rather than NASA specific. I know that they're in One Stop they're coming up with what is it, the metadata maturity matrix. I think that they're showing some kind of dashboard representations of what's going on in the metadata as well.
Should we call it like metadata curation tools or something like that? And then,
well, I mean, I think that this one might speak to techniques that articulate and measure the fungible value of Earth science data, and particularly the metadata that causes that data to become information. So talking about the applications that you can use to do that would probably be a good thing and might be our most specifically related to the goal of the session. So I think that would be a pretty good round out.
Okay. So
I don't think that I want to go more than 3 sessions, though.
So you said you could do something in that one, Sean?
Yeah, definitely.
I'm open to other participants, but if needed, I can ask the CMR team to demo or update on MMT if we need a backup.
Okay. I mean, I would definitely like to see something from One Stop and something maybe from what is it, ScienceBase that the USGS uses? Sorry, what was that?
Hey, Sean, this is Paul. For One Stop, there is a One Stop specific metadata creation tool that is in development right now that is currently undergoing testing. And that could be something that, again, unfortunately, there's 3 people that are going to be there, but they're not really involved in this tool. So the person that is involved in this tool would have to call in, but if that's okay, that could be something.
Okay. I know that last winter in the shared session that we did with Peng and Nancy, a gentleman talked about it's the metadata maturity matrix, right? That's the correct term for.
Well, the stewardship maturity matrix is really an assessment of the stewardship practices that are in place for the data set. And the output is a report, like a Word document, but that's not necessarily a tool.
Okay. I thought that there was some automation going on in identifying the maturity.
It's not the maturity, but NOAA also has their enterprise metadata management architect, which has a bunch of tools such as looking at metadata completeness using an XSL to measure the level of, is it basically just discovery, or do you also have the information needed to understand the data with more complete data quality sections? So that can assess it at both a record and a collection level, as well as a number of other tools that look at field consistency.
Yeah.
So I think that's more the tool aspect.
I think that would be a really good, we've definitely talked about it before in sessions, but it might be a really good idea to add that one to this talk because they've been doing it for a while. They've been doing it longer, and they might have a better perspective on how helpful and useful that is. Or to put it in another way, they may be better able to articulate and measure the socioeconomic value and benefit. What was that, Sarah?
I was just saying yes.
Okay, great.
Agreeing with you.
Okay, and I will add this to my USGS.
Actually, I had an idea on that. If you want, it wouldn't be USGS, but it would be Interior. I could try to reach out to the team at GeoPlatform. They have their new object editor that they've been using in GeoPlatform.
What do they call an object?
Well, that's kind of what's interesting about it. It's not just metadata, it's services too. So they can go in and tweak metadata for like web mapping services in their system.
Cool.
So I can
consider that metadata too.
Yeah, I said that wrong. I meant dataset metadata.
Okay.
Yeah, that came out wrong.
You get into the documentation cluster and you're going to have people nitpicking, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So I can ask them if, one of their team members could talk about Object Editor. It's a pretty good presentation. And I think it's really interesting what they're doing, and it would fit nicely in this session. Yeah,
I like that, and I like that it's something that probably a lot of people haven't heard about before. So it'd be something new, which is always important at show and tell.
I will send them to see if they are.
Okay, yeah, and since it's likely close to where they work, so let's see if we can get somebody that can be on site at least for that day, or that hour or whatever.
Yeah.
And the sooner that we can get that squared away, the sooner we can make sure that they're all paid for and stuff.
Yeah.
All
right, well, I will take that action to reach out to them.
Okay. So breakout session is where you want this guy to be?
I think so.
Yeah, I do. I do too. Okay. Well, we all have a decent list of people to reach out to, and about a week to try and do it. If anyone feels inspired to give these suckers a better description, especially, maybe one that can make the speakers think of characterizing it in terms of the overarching goal of the meeting, that would be really cool. And then I can take it upon myself to take this document and input those sessions next Monday morning. So I know that we have a small group, but we also do have one other thing to talk about if we're done here. I'll take the silence as a agreement that we're done here. The other thing that we would like to bring up is, does this meeting time work for everyone? And you have a lot of power right now because there are not very many of us.
Works great for me.
Yeah, works for me. I'm here.
I mean, I think that's going to be the answer from everyone here, right?
That's it, Sam. I'm on the call.
It actually doesn't work for me, but
So what's a good time for you, Kaylin?
Even an hour later is better for me.
Okay. I mean, it's always a lunchtime thing here in Mountain Time. I hate to push that burden to the West Coast, but they're probably used to it, right?
We can always. I don't know how active people are on Slack, but we can also ping the channel on Slack.
Yeah, it would be a good idea to. Is there a survey tool in Slack?
Yes, there's a polling tool.
Nice.
I use it all the time.
Well, if you could use that to try and get some more feedback on when good times would be, I think that would be awesome.
Okay, can do.
Sweet.
Actually, I had another agenda point.
Oh, what was it?
Hopefully it's easy too. It's what we were scheduled to meet on the Monday after Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah.
Do we want to stick with that, or do we want to adjust?
Did we have the speaker agreement already for that date?
Thought we had talked about maybe Ted had something he wanted to talk about.
Oh yeah. Yeah, which he wouldn't be able to talk about right now because he has a conflict with this time as well, I believe. Well, I don't care one way or the other. So if you have a preference, I say just go for it. And if we need to change the time, just make sure with I guess Bruce if that time works. Or if we need to switch the go-to information to make it work.
As far as November goes, I'm fine with the Monday after Thanksgiving.
I'm fine with that as well. I think a lot of people are going to be off the week of Thanksgiving, but I think most everyone that I know of around here will be back the week after.
Okay.
All right, so then I'll just I'll try to get a poll going on meeting time and see if we get any other ideas there.
Okay. And I will do a little research and see if see when we can't, like when other groups that use our sign-in information are having their sessions.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah, are you thinking of just changing the time or the day as well?
To me, I think that they're both open. But if you want to register that Mondays work best, probably be a good idea to get that in now.
I mean, what's there works is works okay for me. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a few people approach me at the summer meeting, and they said that the Mondays were difficult for them, so that's why we're bringing it up. I had like 2 or 3 different people say that Mondays were difficult, so I just thought we could at least discuss it.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I think as long as that's clear in your poll, that it's not that you're proposing days and times and whatnot. So.
Yeah, I guess each of the proposals should just be a day and a time rather than what times are good and what days are good. So it's a good clarification to make for the poll.
Good point.
Because Tuesday at 1 might be, some other group might be using the go-to information at that time, so we wouldn't be able to do that. But Wednesday at 2 would be fine. So, yeah, I'll check out and make sure when those times are that other people have already claimed. So if nobody has anything else, I think I'm ready to sign off and send this recording in.
I just want to say thanks for all the great ideas. This has been really helpful, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, good discussion.
Yeah, much appreciated. All right, all. Have a good week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.